United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, thank you, everybody. Glad to be here, be back in here. Hopefully I can get my points across. I tell everybody that I don't have problems thinking about stuff that I want to say. It's saying it. So the only way I'm going to do that is get up here and talk some more and let everybody hear me. So I appreciate it. So next I get going on the agenda. First item up here is the public comment. See any?
I did have somebody that was going to be coming, but they haven't shown up. So anyway, they were going to talk about the dog kennel situation that's right across from the footbridge, right across from my place. So, but
Okay.
they're not here, so it evidently.
All right. Maybe next week.
Yep.
All right. Knowing more, not even hear any more perfect comment, we're going to go ahead and move on to the next item for nuisance updates, please. Whoever wants to go first. I'm not going to.
I just have a couple things, a couple updates. The tractor by the Get and Go, the owners have been cited for that, so we're just pending court there. 2 more citations went out this week. 1 car was towed out of the north parking lot, and unfortunately, court was continued again. So we're going to work with the city attorney and see how soon we can get those cases to court, because we have not seen a court date all summer long. So that is a concern to us. I know it is a concern for Doug, and so I will follow up with her tomorrow and see when we can get those to court. But that's all I got, unless there's questions.
Have you been able to play with your decimeter or whatever it's called?
Yeah, we're trying to get it calibrated. So I bought the calibrator, I brought the decibel meter. We don't have a screwdriver small enough to calibrate it. We were messing around with it today. So
I do. In my car.
yeah, that would work. So, but yeah, because right now the calibration I hope is off because a conversation between me and him is over the city ordinance.
Well, you know, you're using that police chief of police voice.
Yeah, so we'll see.
All right. Anybody else for Mr.?
Oh, questions?
Yep. Okay,
When
thank
is,
you.
okay, well, I'll ask the question
Sorry.
because it's needs to be asked. When will the judge say you're continuing these too much? I'm just dropping it.
I think I'll be truthful, I think we hit a nerve with the magistrate already because the city attorney had continued them about 4 hours before court. And so the judge said that we, as a police department, needed to notify all these people, which we don't typically do, that court wasn't going to happen. So we did manage to do that, but I think time's up.
Yeah,
So-
because I mean, if I hired, you know, if it was a lawyer type of thing, kept hiring a lawyer to go with me, and I'm paying them an hour at least minimum to show up to something that doesn't happen, boy, that lawyer's going to get expensive after a while. And
Yep.
I could see her getting a little annoyed with us if we don't have.
Yeah, we're all on the same page.
Okay, all right, well, I hope we can get those things wrapped up.
Yep.
All right. Thank you, sir. Mr. Tar.
I just got a couple of things as well, just reiterate what Chief said. It's getting a little annoying about the continuances. I'm not happy about it one bit. But out of my control, so I'll move on to something positive. We do have 4 657As with the new fiscal year, a new budget. We have started that on 321 5th Street Southwest, 25 6th Street Southwest, 120 First Avenue Northeast, and 202 3rd Avenue Northeast. And I already have, well, I'm hoping to have But these are at the district level, not the magistrate level, but there's some court dates, I think, in late August and then mid-September for 2 of those.
Give me
So that's
them
good.
addresses again.
Yep, 321 Fifth Street Southwest. That'd be that old Olmsted property. 25 Sixth Street Southwest, the big greenhouse behind the car wash. 121st Avenue Northeast, the old Milton Heidi House behind the Methodist Church. And then 202 3rd Avenue Northeast, down at Pat's neighborhood, by the footbridge. So
Thank
those
you.
4 properties, we're getting after
Thank
it,
you.
so.
Good, thank you.
Other than that, yeah, I have some stuff waiting in the wings, trying to get it through and seeing where we fall, you know, because there's expense with all these, obviously, as you guys know. So we're, get through this batch and onto the next batch, so.
So with these 4 properties, you're waiting for the next step, or the next step has occurred and we're just waiting to tear them down?
No, we are going for, through 657A, we're going for ownership.
Okay.
And then once we get ownership, then we will make our plans for demolition. However, I believe the 202 3rd Avenue Northeast, the bones are still good at that. We may look at a different option on that one.
Right.
But the other 3 are for sure demos.
Must be like gold inside there because everybody's trying to break into it.
Yeah, there's a few places in town like that, unfortunately.
Wow.
Can you tell us the status of the house fire on 65 South?
Yeah, you know, I think we have the new owners have talked to me. He just hasn't closed 100% on it just yet. But that I think it'll probably be demoed this fall, the way it sounds.
I've got a question about mowing the right-of-ways.
Okay?
How often do you do that?
Typically, it's a couple times a year, maybe more if we get the opportunity.
Thank you.
You.
Any other questions for Mr. Tar? All right, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Next, we got Project SATA Cup update. Mr. Dunt.
Thank you. Start with the old pharmacy property, 4 and 6 First Street Northwest. Continue to communicate with the DNR department under the Brownfield redevelopment program, which is a grant program that we will use for the lead-based paint inspection, asbestos inspection, and abatement of both of those. Also researching derelict building grant guidelines and community catalyst grant guidelines. Setting up an on-site inspection for the structural engineer, which is this week. Had a Zoom meeting with ISG engineer today to discuss grant funding sources. And tomorrow we're having city staff remove some of the junk from the upstairs apartment above 4 prior to the engineer inspector coming, which will allow for the engineer to have 100% access. Currently, there's just too much stuff in there. We've got to get some of it out so he can at least walk around and get a good visual in there. Generally, things seem to be progressing pretty well on this project, so things are moving. Any questions on that?
Yeah, is that safe up there to be up there in that apartment?
I think so, yeah. Water plant improvement project, basically nothing happening right now. Currently, the contractor's waiting for materials to be delivered. The airport FAA grant pavement crack sealing project, I submitted some signature paperwork on some documents that the FAA requested last week. I look to be getting the official grant agreement from the FAA within the next couple weeks. The engineer said the contractor is hoping to do the project this fall. And I'll turn it over to Doug. He's got some other project comments.
Thank you. We had a pre-construction meeting last week held for the upcoming street project. I can give you a little bit of some of the timelines. It appears actually this week they're going to get started hopefully on storm sewer intakes. That'll be M&P backhoe. Looks like that's going to take 10 to 15 days, and just keep in mind, you know, the weather's going to dictate all this stuff. Whether it's raining here or someplace else, if it's raining somewhere, sometimes these contractors get their schedules bumped around, but these are tentative schedules. Schrock Concrete, doing some of the curb and gutter work starting, I believe, looks like the week of September 3rd. And then it's looking like Heartland Asphalt is scheduled to be in somewhere about the week of September 15th for the paving. So those are the components of the street overlay program for this year. 2nd Street Northeast, I believe between First Avenue and 3rd Avenue there for a couple blocks. And that'll be where we put the new curb and gutter in last year. They'll have new paving. Then, of course, 6th, 7th Street Southeast, and the from the highway to First Avenue on those 2 blocks. And then I believe we're on Federal Street South between First Avenue and 2nd Avenue for some curb and gutter there. Looking forward to that, and not forgetting about the water issue at First Avenue and 2nd Street Northeast. Went back down there today a little, or not today, but last week, looked around. The engineer and I weren't on the same page necessarily on one part of that. But I believe we'll get that ironed out so we move forward. I just know that once we're done there, I want the problem fixed permanently. I don't want any other issues, so we're having a little bit of discussion on how that's gonna go. So, but that'll get ironed out. Water mapping project is nearing completion. The engineer was at City Hall last week. Staff and I met with the engineer and Ron, and we kind of went through some of the digital stuff up on our screen up here, and we're able to look at some of the mapping that's been completed so far. What a great tool. Man, that's going to be nice once we get it all done, and look forward then to going into the next phase to get the sanitary sewer completed. Sidewalk project that the guy's been working up on First Street Northeast and 6th Avenue Northeast, still in kind of full swing up there. That is the area where we got the lot. Basically on the northeast side of the intersection, that's city property. So that sidewalk, and then they had to remove some ash trees, a couple maple trees to get that sidewalk where it needed to be. And then they also had to do some pretty intensive grading on that because the grading was way off. And then just across the street on the south of that is the Habitat lot, and we had some trees growing up that heaved that sidewalk way out of kilter as well. So we were in the same same blocks, so we're like, well, we're gonna try to get those knocked out. Hopefully we can get those tied up by the end of next week is what I'm hoping for. If it's the end of this week, that's great. Talk about sidewalks. So at one of our previous meetings, we talked about our additional sidewalk to the Casey's. We talked about I guess the concept of adding to any project is, great for that discussion. I know Jerry brought that up. However, in reality, these additions offer potential complications, related to budget, overall cost for engineering, materials, staff availability and time, length of project, permitting amendments with state, potential priority changes. This particular project scope was to connect Casey's and the trail to the existing sidewalks to the north, and that was great. There's no sidewalk to connect to at this point to the south or very far. We'd have to go east a ways from that intersection as well and go around the corner. However, having said that, I said I still think it's something for your future consideration and something for potential future budgeting, but to throw it in this late in the ball game, it's not as easy as just slapping in a few more yards of concrete. There's a little more to it, but a great project to think about maybe when we get into budgeting next go around. And I'm anticipating this project to begin sometime in September. We're, waiting on the DOT to get that permit finished up from that original plan. We are currently working on putting together bid packets for a tree removal project in the cemetery for dead ash trees, as well as some other dead, diseased, and dying trees within the cemetery. It's going to be a pretty large project. Went down there a couple weeks ago and identified at least 44. However, a second drive through, I think, would prompt, we've had some more branches go down and stuff just in the last couple of weeks. I think it's going to be a little bit more significant than that by maybe another 20 trees. So we'll get in and get those marked out. We're probably going to go with some ribbon and some paint. That way it's a little bit easier for a contractor. With these, and because of the funding source that we're going to utilize for these, I believe we're going to have them taken down, have the stumps ground out, all in one shot. Trying to do it as quickly as possible, so as not to interfere with funerals and different things of that nature. However, funerals will dictate the scheduling when we do get a contractor involved in this one. We're working on big bid packets for stump grinding from last year's round of removals. We're hoping for another good weather or winter weather this next year to where we can get down maybe another 100+ trees, because honestly in the right of way, I think we may have just less than 100 ash trees left in the right of way. Now that's not counting parks and the cemetery, obviously. However, those are going to be some different projects. But that stump grinding, when we've kept that separate, instead of paying $350 or $450 an inch, we've been able to reduce that significantly by just doing the stumps without doing the tree on the stumps. It seems like in some of the projects in the past, when you lump them together, it ends up costing you a little bit more. They will either get you with the tree removal or they will get you with the stump grinding. So we try to separate those out with those projects. Also going to be working on the bid packets for contracted tree removal in the right-of-way closer to mid-September. The good news is our list of dead ash trees is shrinking, especially after last year's efforts. And once again, weather will dictate the length of season for the removals. I'm going to give hats off to staff. We have been able to we learned some of this with some of the emergency removals we've done this summer, as far as we've utilized block and tackle a little bit more, and the guys, then staff that we have on hand right now has learned some new techniques to where maybe we can do more removals and not have to always wait until there's a lot of frost in the ground. The reason we used to do that is because we wanted to not damage the streets or sidewalks or do the least amount of damage that we possibly could when doing this kind of work. And we typically, last 3-4 years, we've been contracting out maybe 20 removals is what it looks like, for a number of trees, so to speak, but that's typically some really monster trees, and then that's also trees that are up in the power lines that are a little bit more dangerous to get at, where we feel it's great to have some of these seasoned contractors and stuff doing some of that work. I'm anticipating continuing with the fire hydrant painting in the near future, as we're winding down with this water mapping project, utilizing part-time seasonal staff, temporary staff there to help out with some of that yet. And I asked them how many we had, and they said they were thinking we're just a little bit under 100 of those left, maybe. We would still like to get some concrete patches completed on First Street Northwest in the 500 and 600 blocks up by the Aquatic Center. We'd also like to do some more patching on 4th Avenue Northwest in the 600 block, if weather cooperates and we get a little bit extended fall this year. We got a lot on the plate, and just trying to get this all managed and figured out. Pre-construction meeting for the water main project slated for August 20th, because that'll be going on here, and probably getting started very soon after that, within a week or two, I presume. And then I also talked to the county engineer. They're going to be doing a centerline stabilization project on 140th on the gravel. There's a company that had presented to the county. It's like a chemical that's applied to the center lines of gravel roads. It is supposed to offer that gravel road a little bit more support and stability, offer for less maintenance of that. When you can keep your crown in that road, it helps the watershed a little bit. And they're starting kind of a pilot with trying to do this on 140th. And I think that'd be great, because it's, I think South Federal is a candidate for doing some of this. As you know, we had a citizen that had come to a previous meeting and stressed the importance of trying to somehow get the water to drain a little bit better off South Federal where it's gravel. And I think this centerline stabilization stuff may be an answer. I don't know that yet. There's people out there that'll sell snake oil too, but we just want to make sure, we want to see it in action and see how it works, because it has a cost and a price tag to it. So, but between that, maybe and some drainage and some grading, it'd be nice to get South Federal back up into ship shape here at some point. So anyway, that's kind of what I got for some project updates right now. Any questions on any of that?
Okay, the water main project's like by Northside School, right?
Yes, sir.
How, when they're doing that work, is that street gonna be open? Like at least partial?
Right.
How's that gonna work?
Right.
Especially with the school.
This is where we learned this at the pre-construction meeting, and we will be inviting the school. We'll be inviting the bus, Danny Shipper, to that pre-con. We've already talked, Jim, and I will have him there, but they're gonna try to leave some traffic open. It's boring, so it's not like a big
Right.
open trench, so that'll be great. But there are gonna be times where there's most definitely gonna be traffic control there, most definitely.
Especially, with the Lutheran church there, that's the only access they
Right,
have to their parking lot, as well as the daycare
yes.
and the apartments there on
Yep.
all on the north side of the street.
All very well noted, and the engineer's very well aware, and we're gonna see what they come up with for the traffic control. And actually, I could invite him to a meeting or something to talk to you guys, let you know what we have planned, when we have it planned. But I think that's part of the pre-construction meeting, so we can find out where they wanna start, when they wanna start, bringing the contractor in, because scheduling's gonna be important on that. Would've been great to do it during the summertime, but it didn't work out that way.
You ever seek any input then from like those property owners, like the church and that, even prior to, or, are they aware of it?
Yeah, well, I don't know if they're aware, but,
I'm sure they read the paper.
right, yeah. If there's more that we need to invite to the pre-con, but until we know exactly what the plan is for traffic control, which I don't know what that is yet, and the pre-construction meeting is we gotta have that first. We wanna put we don't wanna put the cart
I
before the horse.
understand that.
but-
And then when do you anticipate that it would start, did you say?
Probably the first part of September. So I guess what I would request, even from the engineer, is to possibly, like we've done in the past, have an informational meeting and then invite everybody to an informational meeting that's gonna be affected. We've done that historically, and we could probably throw one of those in real easy. But we need to have the pre-con first, just see where we're
Right.
at.
I think as soon as everyone is aware of that, the better.
Oh, sure,
Good, thank you.
yep.
Yeah, I got one question for Ron, and then I got a few for you. The jobs, the water plant, the street jobs, and the water main jobs, are those all paying prevailing wage?
The ARPA one is for sure. The water plant improvement, that's SRF, so that is. And what was the third one you asked?
The streets.
HMA,
No,
no.
there's no
That's-
state,
Heartland's the sub.
right?
So there's
Schrock's
no-
got the concrete bid there?
Yep.
Yeah, he's a sub.
He's a sub to Heartland Asphalt. Heartland's the general.
Okay. The intersection at Second Street Northeast,
Yes.
have they looked at milling that so to get that water to flow to the east?
Not, I don't think we want to mill and disturb. What we want to do, what I envisioned was, they were talking about doing the apron on that south side, and instead of doing the apron in asphalt, I had brought up, I think we need to do it in concrete because of how flat it is, because it's a lot easier to get a 1% on concrete than it is asphalt. And that's some of the discussion the engineer and I have been having.
Do you have a status on the industrial park?
I do not, other than I talked to the county engineer today to find out when Denko was coming to work for them at the county, and it sounded like they had to make some cuts this year at the county level for some reason. So I'm not sure if they are actually going to be in town, so I'm gonna need to reach out to Denko and have that conversation, but from the, from my understanding of it is, I wanna put the gentleman from Denko at a council meeting one at budget time this fall. That way, because there's no way we're gonna be able to afford to just up and do that this year. I mean, that's something we're gonna have to budget for. It's gonna be pretty extensive.
Before we start that water main job, can you take the Durapatch out there and fill some of them potholes? There's a lot of holes about like this
Where at?
on 12th Avenue
Okay?
and other places in town.
Yeah, I can pull the guys off the concrete and try to go
I
do
mean,
some of that
I know you
instead.
gotta work other jobs, but I've noticed a lot of potholes.
Okay?
Jerry was talking about that intersection south of Casey's, the sidewalk that's not there. Is Habitat paying us to fix that sidewalk there?
No,
Well, we never budgeted for that.
I have sidewalk, I had 5,000 in sidewalks and we can get that covered out of that.
What's the status of Habitat? Are they ever gonna build there?
I have no idea. I don't
They
talk to
can't
them.
find a family to partner with.
That's frustrating.
That's all the questions I have.
Any other questions for
On
Ron
the
or Doug?
Habitat property, there's kind of some bushes or something kind of in the middle of it with some stairs.
Yeah, we can get rid of those, I'm sure.
I mean, those stairs have been there forever,
Yep.
since the house burned down.
Right, and nobody, the weeds grow up around them.
Yeah, so that would clear that up a little bit, maybe look a little bit better.
Yep.
I have a question like related again to the habitat. Is there anything more like that we could do? Like, I don't know what or how often they're promoting, but is there anything more that like we could do, we in general, whether working with the newspaper, doing some more publicity,
We,
whatever?
so through the years, we've done that. We've had these discussions and have reached out to Habitat, and then they jumpstart things. They come and speak to the civic clubs and try and the Chronicle's been good about doing interviews and putting it out there and publicizing, but none of it ever generates any applications. So,
That doesn't mean we shouldn't keep doing it.
Right.
true.
I did a whole thing, about a year
Yeah.
ago, through my shop page and everything, and they got like 5 people interested, but nobody followed through. Everybody just kind of
Yeah,
fizzled out.
they inquire but don't fill out an application.
Let's keep trying.
Have they had any luck with other towns or cities that didn't have like the jump start? Maybe they could put a sign there with like a, weatherproof pamphlet where somebody could grab and at least get the information if they don't have.
I can inquire about a
Access.
sign. I don't know that I've ever seen a sign there. so
Yeah,
I
if they
can
could put
inquire
like
about it.
a sign like that on the corner of the lot available,
Yep.
and then have some of those pamphlets like you're talking about. That'd be
Yeah.
great.
Did you say the company that's building the new house, they may be interested in that lot?
Yeah, so Habitat has expressed interest in selling the lot to the city, and then across the street to the north, Soyland has an option on that, and Soyland would definitely be interested in putting a Soyland home, a second one on this Habitat lot. So that's another option, is if the city acquired it from Habitat for Humanity.
Well, you could probably figure that out first, that way we don't have to worry about the cost of the sign and everything.
Well, would I be
Especially
able
if
to?
they've had it for
Oh, sorry.
years. No, go ahead.
I was gonna say, would I be able to get information, because I'm just thinking, I'm involved with this family focus group, a number of service providers that are regional but that maybe I could share that information and get it out that way.
Yeah, I can get you
Yeah.
information, yeah.
And we have a meeting coming up, at our next meeting September, but if you get that to me, I'll be
Yeah.
glad to share that. I think just the more people we can push that out to, so it's not what you know, it's who you know, and maybe they'll know of some people and are having some connection with some people that don't read the paper, don't listen to the radio, don't, because it's so many times, like,
Okay.
I talk to people and they say, hey, they didn't know about something, and it's like, well, they don't read, they don't do anything, but I'll be glad to push that out and see what we can do.
Because, I mean, 2 new houses right there, boom, boom, across the street from each other. They're on the way to the pool. I mean, it's a nice part of town. I mean, it's just abandoned. It's just too bad. We need 2 new houses there to really build up the infrastructure and the inroads of some of these lots that are available in Hampton.
Good, thank you.
Thank you. Any other calls or questions? All right, I think we're good.
Thank you.
Thanks, Doug.
Moving on.
Any projects from the police department? Okay.
Shorty
National-
answers.
National
shorty
Night
answers.
Out? Are you all geared up for National Night Out?
Yeah,
Perfect.
if you want to mention National Night Out, the Family Focus will be there handing out backpacks, earbuds, headphones, and REC provided the earbuds and headphones. So we'll be there in the northeast corner tomorrow. We've got 300 and some backpacks that we can give out. So
Great.
that's great.
All right. Move on, the next item is the fiscal year 25, the wage award adjusted for part city all positions.
Part-time.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is for, we have a permanent part-time position. It's just one position. And so if you recall, a few meetings ago, we discussed the seasonal part-time wage, bumped that up for the seasonal part-timers. And then the permanent part-time position now is being paid the same as the beginner of the seasonal. So we're recommending we bump up the permanent part-time from 14 to at least 15, if not 15.50. But so like for instance, part-time seasonal, if they've been here in the second year, like Terry Ham is at 15. And so we recommend at least equalizing that. So need council approval of the wage. So whatever you decide tonight will go on Thursday's agenda for formal approval.
Any
Any discussion?
comments from everybody?
Yeah, can we just start bundling this instead of having this wage increase over here and this wage increase over here?
Well,
And
they're 2 different titles.
Yeah, this one, yeah, it would have been nice to be able to do that, but it got brought to our attention after the fact, and so it was just something that got overlooked.
I think it's
So how long has our permanent part-time person been there?
Well, yeah, so
So it's
She's-
been a year?
2 years probably, 2.5 years. Charlotte, it's Charlotte.
Oh.
Yeah,
So she's been here 2 years.
yeah, at least 2 years, yeah.
And there hasn't been a pay increase since she started?
I think there was, I think we have done one with her, but I don't recall when it was.
She work in the sewer plant also?
Yeah, so she does mowing and weed rounds, notices, city hall tasks that Becky and Kelsey need help with. She, cemetery, lot locations, inquiries, sales of cemetery lots. She also works at the wastewater plant as needed, and so she's kind of a all-around.
1550 be okay?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that seems fair enough.
Yeah, I'm fine with that.
Doesn't go very far. I just put
Yeah.
$10 in my work card. I bring it back from Waterloo and it light come on again, so.
Sounds
And-
like she
and-
does an awful lot of stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Major.
And-
Well, she
and-
works, what days does she work, Becky? Yeah, and not all day on those days, so she's, we allow her to have some flexibility if, if she's caught up, she says, I don't, if they don't need anything, then she leaves early, so it's basically to help to cover times when we need the help.
She doesn't get benefits?
No, no,
No prorated PTO or anything like that?
no, I don't believe so. I don't think she meets the threshold of our
Okay.
policy. She's retired. This is a part-time job for her in her retirement, so she's,
I can relate to that.
yeah.
So everybody's in agreement on that one? I think Barry, to your point, is getting everything, all lined up. I think we're in that position right now where things are popping up and we're gonna eventually kind of herding cats and getting
Yeah.
everything lined up and going forward, we should be able to do this more efficient.
That tends to happen in a lot of different topics with the city. We
Yep.
bring things back to workshops multiple
Yep.
times, and it's just not as efficient as we would like.
Right,
Yeah.
right. So, good. Thank
Okay,
you
we'll
all.
put that on the agenda for Thursday. Thank you.
All right. And that is the end of our agenda for tonight, and thank you all for bringing me back in, and be patient with me. I'll get the words out eventually. So at this time, we'll go ahead and adjourn. Thank you. I should learn that word, huh? Adjourn.
Watch out, Bill's going behind.
I see. I'm trying to get my in so it didn't hit his belly.